All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Beast Wars Neo Cohrada. I've seen it spelled both Cohrada and Colada. I'm pretty sure that's just because in Japanese the L and the R sounds are kind of a similar sound, but Cohrada makes just way more sense since he turns into a cobra here. But yeah, Cohrada I think is the intended pronunciation. And yeah, he makes for a pretty nice cobra mode here. I think that proportionally the whole head of it is probably a little bit too big for the tail, but you can kind of understand why they did it that way, just because making a snake transformer is always a weird sort of ambition. But yeah, in terms of articulation, the tail is very articulated. He's got a ball joint at this section right here, at this section right here, right here, right here, right here, and then has a bunch of kind of like, similar to those wooden snake toys where you kind of hold it up in the air and it only has one axis of movement, so it kind of wiggles around. The rest of his tail is linked up like that, which is kind of fun, intended to be just kind of like loose flowing, but obviously if you bend it down like that, it just falls straight down. His jaw can also open in Cobra mode, and what's kind of fun is he's got this little flap of skin up here that if you push down on, it actually opens his mouth and puts this little gun into his jaw there to shoot that out. That actually, as we can show off, that actually is a water gun, so you can take this section off and fill it up with water just by putting the tip in some water and then squeezing it to absorb water, and then you can shoot it out. So he has like a water gun from his mouth, and that's pretty cool. I'm not going to show it off here just because you know what water guns do. I don't want to get my background all wet, but it's kind of fun that is a feature, but it's not like really too obtrusive to the figure. He's got a couple other fun things going on too. Obviously, the tail like that. I love his back pattern here. It's very nice sort of cobra pattern with good scaling. Obviously this is the upside to this whole piece, just kind of being a shell on his back in robot mode. But in this mode, it works super well. But yeah, in terms of comparisons in this mode, he can be a little bit hard sometimes to get sitting. Sometimes it's easy to have him sitting down like that, but you can tilt it up so he sits like that. But obviously, he's a little top heavy, so it can be a little bit tricky sometimes. But yeah, here he is for the standard one, just with Kingdom side swipe. Here he is with Beast Machines Night Viper for the other Cobra Transformer. Obviously, it's neat that they've done a couple different Cobras here. Obviously, that would be the snake to do for Transformers, since you need to have some sort of mass to to make the robot parts come out of, and Cobras are, though real Cobras, this whole like crest is a lot thinner in comparison to the rest of the body. At least you can kind of get the image across there. But yeah, obviously they take very different approaches, as we'll see a lot more in robot mode, but they look kind of cool together. And then for the one that we looked at last time, here he is with Beast Wars Neo Stampy. He was also released in 1999 in the Beast Wars Neo toy line in Japan, in case you were wondering. But yeah, no, he looks super good with him. I like them. I like the Beast Wars Neo's Maximal. Oh my gosh, words. The Beast Wars Neo Maximals as a little crew together. I think that works super well. In terms of transformation, just like Stampy, he does have this weird sort of like weapons platform tertiary mode. I'll show it off. It's even less of a thing really than Stampy's is, but first thing you want to do is just flip the crest up like this, and just kind of leave that hanging over the head. Point this forward like it was before. Untab these sections here, which will be his robot mode legs, and what you kind of want to do is bring them down on the ball joints and have them like sit on the ground like that. And I forget exactly what you're supposed to do with this. I think you're supposed to just kind of have it up as extra shielding. And that's his weapons platform mode, I guess. It's weird, and it's made out of snake parts, but I don't know. This like really has even less dedicated tooling than Stampy's tertiary mode, so it's completely ignorable. You're, I guess, supposed to have a figure standing behind it like this, so it's kind of like a weapons platform, and maybe if the figure's a little shorter, then he's supposed to be able to like see through this hole, but still have the rest of the snake as like shielding. It's just very weird and awkward, and I just think that the idea of making weapons platforms made out of animal parts is just like kind of gross and stupid to begin with, but it's there and it's completely ignorable if you don't like it, which I don't, so I will. But for the rest of the transformation, you just want to take this section here and just get it out of the way. Take what will be his robot mode head and just fold that up like that on that little stalk there. Bring these sections down, which will be his robot mode legs, and then this entire section here, it sort of untabs from the back shell here, and it's on a joint right there in the middle. So you kind of want to move it so it's moving around, you know, the extra arm here, and then there's these two peg holes right here which will peg into two pegs on the body. So you just do it like that, and then for the snake tail, you want to fold that down on this joint like this, and then bring it down on this joint, and that will actually be one of his arms. And then for the other arm, you just rotate it down and then rotate it at the elbow there so it sits like that, and then bring his robot mode head down, and then this whole section you actually kind of want to feed. He's got like a robot hat. You want to feed that through this kind of cutout section here and bring this whole section down and click it back into place. And then the snake head has these two little tabs on it that will go into these two little slots in the chest. So you want to fold it down like that, and there you have Cohrada in his robot mode. And yeah, he looks... And yeah, he looks pretty cool. He's got a neat little aesthetic going on. He's got a weird sort of like cowboy hat thing going on with his head sculpt there, which, yeah, you know, I'm not entirely in love with like when the robots have like clothes-like features as part of their design, but I think it works for him. Makes him look like kind of an old west outlaw or something like that. And he's got obviously the big whip arm here for his snake tail, which you know, it's a little clumsy, but I think it works well enough especially if you're just you know, willing to just let it kind of droop onto the ground. I think it looks pretty good. He's got his spark crystal over here on his shoulder. It shows off he is in fact a maximal. In terms of articulation, the head, you don't actually get a ton of rotation, only back and forth, because it connects to the back, so you get a lot of like, you know, sideways tilt with the head, but only a little bit of rotation back and forth. The shoulders, this one is on this armature that just kind of like doesn't peg in or anything, so it can kind of like droop down like that, unfortunately. It's on a ball joint here, so you can rotate it around for whatever, you know, is allowed by having this like huge shell wrapped around it. He has a bicep swivel right here, 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. And then obviously with this arm, it's just the same as the tail. It's got a ball joint at the shoulder, ball joint right here, ball joint right here, ball joint right here, and then obviously the loose hanging hinges. Nothing at the waist, ball joints at the hips can go forward, not really that far back because of the huge, you know, snake shell on the back, and about that far out to the side. Ball joints at the knees, which give him a thigh swivel, and about 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and then ball joints at the feet. You know, Beast Wars Neo figures were just like most other typical Beast Wars figures, and they just had a lot of ball joints, which means that they, you know, had a pretty decent amount of articulation. If you don't like this weapon, you can take it off, and he's just got like a weird little claw hand underneath it. I mean, I like the look of it. I think it's nice to have it as an arm cannon, even if you're not actually using the water feature, but obviously you can still use that in this mode. It just, you know, you just squeeze the thing itself rather than relying on this piece to squeeze it like you did in snake mode. But yeah, in terms of comparisons, here he is again with Kingdom's Sideswipe, just so you can see with an average size modern deluxe. You can see he's a little bit taller. He's pretty much a tall deluxe. Here he is again with Night Viper from Beast Machines. So you can see two very different takes on a Cobra transformer here. They kind of kept more of the sort of like snake-like aesthetic with him, having him stand up and be really slender, whereas he's a lot more of like a normally proportioned robot, but the snake feature in this mode is just that he's got the entire tail as an arm, which was a pretty common feature, especially in Beast Wars Neo, of just having like a large part of the alt mode be the robot mode arm, which in his case, I think it works. It fits thematically to kind of like, you know, outlaw, Wild West type character that he looks like. And then here he is again with Beast Wars Neo Stampy, just so you can see two members of their little team there. But yeah, no, overall he's a really cool figure. I can see for some people the like loose hanging tail being an off-putting feature to him. I think it's really fun, and I like this sort of like whip arm in robot mode, even though it is kind of hard to like get him in a very convincing looking pose with it, but you know, you can do it. I don't usually like features like, you know, the like hat in robot mode, but for him, I think it works. It adds a bit of character, and it isn't too gimmicky, even if it is a little bit. But yeah, I think the snake mode looks really good. I love this like painted pattern on the back here. I think that works super well. And, you know, overall, I think it's a pretty good figure. But yeah, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, here we have Transformers Beast Wars Neo Cohrada.